Well, good morning and welcome back to the channel. A slightly different one this week. I'm going to go on a little bit of I'll just take you through a typical week. It's Sunday morning this morning, so we'll take you through a typical week in the van. And by typical, there's never really a typical week in the van, not least the week that's just been. We've actually been in this area a week longer than we thought we would be. Had to do some pretty important paperwork that required various runs to various places, but just staying a little earlier as we have been doing. In fact, we've been on the road now almost 3 weeks, and I think we have paid for one overnight stop, and they've all been in sort of little errors, services and everything, so fantastic. But yeah, we're still in Normandy. We hopefully in the next couple of days will be crossing over into Brittany, following the coast on around, we'll be dropping in inland a few bits and pieces, but I'll take you along for the ride, hopefully getting the various cameras out, iPhones, X100Ts, and of course the big bad boy as well. But yeah, let's see what a typical, i.e. not very typical, week on the road, in the van, with cameras, looks like. And today's treat day, today's Sunday. We were speaking to some locals last night and they gave us some advice on what sounds like an incredible little sausage man outside of Carrefour. So that's maybe stop number one. Right, catch up from the road. Monday morning, and we've travelled down. Actually, we're staying about 5k away from Saint-Michel, and that's actually what we're going to do this morning. We're going to hike over there. Just staying. This is actually our second paid for night in 3 weeks. We're just a little kind of camping area with electricity and all the bells and whistles. But yeah, yesterday we parked up by the coast, and it was a stunning beach, or it would have been, apart from the 17,000 footprints. So unfortunately no real photography to be had yesterday, which again, as I've said before, I'm starting to make a lot of peace with, because I know that I can't really do a bit like today. Today's just going to be a hiking day. Obviously I've got my little trusty X100T and the old iPhone with me, but we shall leave the van parked up. Got some nuts for the journey. As I say, I think it's about a 7k walk there, 7k walk back, so I guess about 10 miles on and all. So all locked up. Let's get on the hoof to Saint-Michel. I'm sure there'll be some photography en route. Well, good afternoon, folks. It is now Wednesday. Bit of a non-day. Well, actually, on Monday, after I left you, we wandered into Mont Saint-Michel. I realised in the previous clip I got that completely wrong by saying Saint-Michel. Beautiful from a distance. Quite crowded and busy and overpriced once you got into the Mont Saint-Michel, but really nice from a distance. And then we came back to the little area that we were staying in, and we then just had a bit of a down day, a bit of an admin day yesterday. Nicola had some work to do, had a few bits and pieces to do, got the van cleaned, had showers, and now we have made our way along to just outside a beautiful little French historic town called Dinan. The van is parked kind of over this way somewhere, and we're just walking along the canal, and there's actually an artist down here actually painting the view as well. Now you may notice that I've actually got the big boy camera and the little X100T, so even though it's not sort of great conditions, I just thought I'd bring it along with me anyway, just in case there was something that caught my eye. So it's about a 2k walk into Dinan. Last time we were here in September, it was really busy. Lots of people out eating moule frite. But yeah, so we're just going to wander into Dinan and see whether there's any images to be had. Let's do that. So a 15-20 minute walk along the riverbank, and here we are now in Dinan, and it's a heck of a lot quieter than it was back in September. So I just thought I would crack open the old GFX, just this little kind of picture box scene. Now the light isn't great kind of on it, and obviously we've got a lot of blue sky and stuff, but that's okay, best to get it out. And actually I'm using it as a little bit of an experiment as well. And kind of, as I say, I'm still feeling my way around the old medium format, and I want to kind of see how much I can push under exposing the actual frame itself and still pulling out good shadows while not clipping any of the highlights. And there's probably about a two and a bit stop of difference between the highlights here and the bridge, so I'm kind of underexposing by a stop and by 2 stops to see whether I can actually bring stuff out from a single frame or whether I need to kind of combine a couple of those. Got a polarizer on there as well, only really just to bring out a few of the extra kind of tones in the greens and the blues. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and throw this frame up, and then we'll go on for a little dander through this beautiful village of Dinan. We did have some wraps before we left the van to try to avoid buying any moule frite or any frite, but I'm making no promises on that. Right, let's wander on. So good morning, Friday morning, and yesterday was a bit of a washout, so didn't record anything. We parked back up outside the gorgeous little village of Dinan. If you ever get a chance, I would highly recommend having a wander through there, especially in the off season. When we came here back in September, it was mobbed, but yesterday or 2 days ago, it was really quite quiet, and it allowed me to actually make a couple of images along the way. And also the big abbey that's in Dinan, we didn't actually visit it last time. Beautiful, and we just caught it at the right time, just as the sun was coming out, and it created some beautiful kind of kaleidoscope of colours all throughout the abbey. And as I say, we came back to the little park up and just stayed there, and then it was a bit of a washout yesterday, so we just went for a run, had a bit of a lazy morning, and then drove on to another little village that not much going on. We are waiting on some big job for Nicola coming through, so we were going to go to another area that had electricity and things, but it didn't come through, so we just hunkered down for the day. But now we're starting to explore some of the wonderful coastline that Brittany has to offer. And this is, I'll put the name up below, I've forgotten the name already. We're just parked over the way there. Rather nice. The sun, the light's okay, but as I've taught myself now, best to make an image than not. So I've just been playing about with the old GFX up on the rocks. Some lovely lichen on these rocks as well, and textures and things. A little sort of mini lighthouse guiding the way out there as well. Apologies if I seem a little bit subdued today. All seems a little bit trite. recording these vlogs with what's going on in the world at the moment, and it's not great. In fact, I'm sure completely unrelated, but we had 2 fighter jets just flying over here, and it just reminds you that while I'm here, you know, making images and drinking coffee and generally just mitching about, there are many thousands of people who are, you know, well, going through the worst of times. So, yeah. Anyway, well, what I'll do is I'll throw up a couple of images from this area, and I guess we'll catch up either later today or later in the week as we continue our mosey on in the van around Brittany. Well, good evening. Friday evening, about 5:30, about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15 minutes before sunset. And just been out for a bit of a dander. In fact, we were out this afternoon, beautiful coastline, and you can start to see the dramatic difference between the Brittany coastline and the Normandy coastline. Yes, there was little pockets of cliffs and rugged coasts on Normandy, but it was quite a flat, kind of wide, expansive beach. And today, in the little sort of place we've camped up at, we're going to be here for a couple of days, just outside St Malo, starting to get a little bit more rugged. Now it's low tide, which doesn't suit from a photographic perspective this stretch of beach. It's another huge expanse, as you can see, and it's probably, again, as you can see, a clear blue sky. So once again, I am pointing below my feet. Been out for about an hour, just sort of wandering up and down the beach. Don't know this area. Now, I have seen some people, oh geez, as he knocks over his camera, I have seen some people walking on out, and I was a little bit concerned just in case there was sort of some sort of quicksandy bits, but it seems okay. But I thought I would just sort of trying to sort of make the most of that sort of late evening sun, and I came across a little bit of sort of weathered rope, and actually a little bit of chain as well that at the moment is outside of the frame, and I might just see whether I can work something out here. But beautiful evening, quite a nice way to spend a Friday evening, if I don't say so myself. And I hear afterwards there might even be a cheeky beer on the go, so let's see whether we can get something set up here, and if I do, I'll throw it up. Good morning. Sunday morning, and what a difference the weather is compared to this time last Sunday as I was walking around that lovely little French village. Let me just get into the lay of this bit of rock here to avoid any unnecessary wind noise. So yeah, Sunday morning, and we are parked up about 4.5 or so miles away from St Malo. And yesterday we ran into St Malo, walked around the city walls, walked around the town walls, and then mitched about the actual town itself, and then walked back. It was about a 15-mile day. One of the reasons why I love travelling in the van, my daily mileage just goes through the roof. But yeah, so a very typical, i.e. not very typical week in the van. Bit of photography, bit of running, bit of walking, bit of logistics, and all in all, not too bad weather. Now, even though we're very overcast and sort of gnarly this morning, I think the next 4 or 5 days are supposed to be really nice, and we're approaching some areas that look pretty incredible from walking perspective anyway, and hopefully some good photography chances as well. But I hope you've enjoyed this past week, and just a mixture of sort of landscapes, mixture of images as well, made with the iPhone, with the X100T, and with the old GFX as well. I'll probably do another one of these type of videos at some point in the future. We still have weeks left on this particular outing around France. But as I say, today's plan is a bit of a logistical day. Go do our shopping this morning, So we're parked up at the moment in a little area and got electricity charge and all that good stuff. But then we're going to head off, do a bit of shopping, do our laundry, and then head up for a park up tonight. That actually is the starting point for our walk tomorrow, which is round Cape Friel. I think that's about a 10-mile walk or something, so probably won't be bringing any of the big kit with me. At the very least, it looks like there is a car park up there, so I can use tomorrow's walk as a bit of a recce. But being out with the X100T as well, it's getting plenty of usage over these last couple of weeks. So I did just try a long exposure here, say very overcast conditions, and I was trying a kind of a long exposure with those clouds kind of moving through. I ended up with an 8-minute exposure, but we do have some flecks of kind of rain moving through as well, so I just don't think that's going to have worked once I get it back onto the screen, but I might pop it up at the end anyway. And speaking of rain, that looks like it's coming in a bit harder, so I'm going to head back to the van, grab a cup of coffee, and then get ourselves ready for logistical day. But as always, guys, I hope you've enjoyed following along this little typical, i.e. not very typical week in the van. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.